demonstrate how to do a power analysis first in SPSS, but it must be version 29, and then I'm going to demonstrate it in GPower. So for SPSS, it has to be, again, version 29. We're going to go to Analyze, and we go to Power, and we're going to demonstrate this for an independent samples t-test. So that is going to be a means test because we're comparing means. And we're going to go to independent samples t-test, boom. And then what we're estimating is the sample size. And we're going to look at a grid. We want to look at power from 0.60 to 0.90 in increments of 0.10, just so we can compare and contrast power. So we're going to fill that in, click OK. And then in terms of the group size ratio, if you have equal size groups, that's 50-50. So 50 divided by 50 is 1, so group size ratio is 1. Let's say you think, oh, maybe my first group will be 60% of the sample and the second group will be 40% of the sample. So it has to add up to 100%. So 60 divided by 40 would be 1.5. So you would put 1.5 here if you think the group split is going to be 60-40. Let's assume that our groups are equal, so we're going to put 1. And then here you can specify hypothesized values or effect size. We're going to specify the effect size, and we're going to assume a medium effect size. So a small effect size would be 0.20, a medium effect size would be 0.50, and a large effect size would be 0.80. But we're going to assume a medium effect size. You would follow whatever's in the research. When you don't have that, you just go with a medium effect size. And then in terms of our test direction, for a one-sided directional test, we would click that. We're going to assume a two-sided non-directional test. Our alpha value is 0.05, our p-value is 0.05. So we have now filled it all in. We're going to click OK, and we get our power analysis results here with looking at if the actual power is 60%, our two groups would have to have 41. We actually want power of 80%, so our two groups would have to have 64. So that's an estimate. That means that if we had 64 in each of our groups and we compared the means, we'd have an 80% chance of finding statistical significance when it actually exists. But that is an estimate. It may or may not occur. You can also go with estimate higher rates of power, get a larger sample so that you can be assured of, you can have greater assurance that you would be able to find statistically significant results if they actually occur. So that is how to do it in SPSS SPSS version 29. If you want to do it in GPower, you would have to first download GPower, and you have that at the end of your instructions, your week 2 instructions. You would go to this link and you would download GPower, and it is a free program. You can download it for Mac or Windows. I recommend that you register so they send you updates, and you have help manuals that you can download, and then you have the download here. So here's downloading for Windows, downloading for GPower. So I have already downloaded GPower. This is what it looks like. So we click on GPower to open it, and we are going to analyze for independent samples t-test here. So we choose t-test, and we want to look at means, difference between two independent groups, two means. We want to compute the required sample size given alpha, power, and effect size. We're again going to assume a two-tailed test. That's the convention. We're going to assume we're going to assume medium effect size of 0.5. we're going to assume alpha of 0.05. For our power, we're going to put in 0.80. And again, this is our group size. Do we have equal size groups, 50-50? Divide 50 by 50, you get 1. Or do you think you'll have a larger group in one group than the other? You're just assigning these groups. N2, N1, you just assign those. We're going to assume equal groups, and we're going to calculate, and our power analysis for 80% power, again, 80% chance of finding statistically significant results when they exist. Our total sample size would need to be 128. Our final group size with data, good data for all these people in these groups, would be 64 per group. And then we also get our XY plots where we can see our table. So we can see total sample size displaying the values in the plot in steps of 0.10. So we can go from 60, we can go to 0.95 and draw the plot. And then we can see here, again, it's not giving it to us by groups. It's giving us the total sample size. For 80%, 127. That's rounded up to 128, which you see here. So that's how you compute power. You have all that information here, which you could copy and paste by copy this and then paste this so that you have it outside of GPower. I hope that was helpful for GPower Independent Samples T-Test and for SPSS version 29 Independent Samples T-Test. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions.